I thank you for joining us in this. I'll start now for the theme of the workshop, that is from consent to reuse, ethics and technology across the data life cycle. And we have to say that why we decided to bridge these two issues, remote informed consent, elicitation, and secondary use of data in this workshop, and in general in a clinical trial. You can see here the data life cycle in a clinical trial that starts from the very first moment in which the patient is contacted and in which the trial is proposed to the patient with giving her the important information about the trial, and followed by the data collection, that are every kind of clinical data, biological, PROS, digital tools that we can collect during the trial. And then we have taken into account that the data should be securely stored, and there should be governance above all this process. Then there is a chapter related to the secondary use of data. The secondary use of data that perhaps after the trial, when the trial is finished, perhaps the data collected during the trial can be used for other purposes that were not mentioned in the original consent. The very last step of this life cycle of the data is the feedback to participants. This should be important because the patients should, in some cases, they would like to know the trial updates and also the results. And this is related to transparency, trust, reciprocities, because the patients give their valuable contribution to the trial, but it is for them would be important to know what we are doing with their data. And the issues of transparencies and governance from collection and consent are the issues that are to be highlighted also in this workshop. So the rationale of the workshop of today, that we want to look at all this continuum together through different lenses, from the ethical point of view, regulatory and technical, and also from the patient point of view. The workshop is organized in the framework of the CCE DART project. This project was built around the Cancer Core Europe, that is a network of comprehensive cancer research centers, and in particular around the basket trial, clinical trial, that is a modular multi-country investigator-led precision medicine trial, which were the main aims of the DART projects. We would like to incorporate newer and effective methods to the design, conduct, and analysis of academic clinical trials by developing digital tools to support trial management and clinical decision making. Also, we plan to enhance trial design by integrating novel statistical design, and also implement precise and dynamic imaging techniques and molecular market to be associated with the drug response. One particular area of the CCE DART project was that dedicated to the patients. And in this framework, we would like to empowering patients, ensuring their perspectives and needs that are very central to the research process. And this working area D was led by the Fondazione IRCCS Istituto Nazionale Tumori. We had Cinzia, me, and Sara, but also by the Istituto di Ricerche Farmacologiche Mario Negri, Paola Mosconi, Cinzia, that is Colombo, that is the moderator of today, Pasquale Paletta, and also by company that is Data River with Mirko Orsini and Marco Pacchioni. Mirko is going to speak also today. In this area, we organize some educational initiatives aimed at developing the competencies for the researchers to conduct participatory research. And we also developed some web tools that were patient-oriented and aimed at improving patient experience within in the trial participation. Okay, let's talk firstly about this course that was implemented for the researchers in cancer, basic and clinical, also translational. And within this course, we wanted to promote PPI, that is public and patient involvement in research, by making the researchers understanding the principles, the modalities, the benefit and the limitation on two that are related to the implementation of public and patient involvement in research. And this course was at its first edition, but perhaps we could organize other editions in the futures. And what about the digital tools we developed within the DART project? The digital tools were fundamentally three, and were aimed at facilitating the participation to the BOB trial, but ideally, every clinical trial could have this kind of instrument to inform the patients, to involve them actively inside the clinical trials, and also to support them during the participation. These instruments were three and are iEnter, that is an informative website addressed to the patients, to the participants to the BOB trial, their caregivers, and also patients, advocates, and public. iConsent, that is a web app restricted to the patients that wanted to participate to the clinical trial, or also to patients actively participating to the trial. And the app allows to elicit the informed consent, and in particular to allow remote management of the informed consent process. And the third app is particularly related to the BOB trial, because it allows remote access to the clinical trial visits, the calendar, and to messaging with the clinicians, and exchange also documents with the clinical staff. As I said before, every clinical trial should offer, ideally, should offer similar digital tools to the patients, because especially iEnter and iConsent are potentially applicable to all clinical studies. Now, in particular, what is this web site? This is a platform actually in which we share with the patients information about the BOB trial, but not only. This is available in different languages, and the particular the patients appreciated much the videos that we put to describe what clinical trials are, in particular, what is the basket-to-basket trial, also information about the precision medicine, genes and their mutation, and informed consent process. The patients can go on the website and then have a look at the text that is accompanying all the videos, and also to the videos themselves. And in the future, we could think about uploading also a video dedicated to the information on secondary use of data, based also on the discussion that is the today's discussion within the workshop. Another output of the project was dedicated to the sharing the BOB trial results with the patients. And here we are planning to put also in the dedicated section of iEnter some results of the BOB trial module 1 to all the participants. These results were presented in an abstract, but now we are elaborating the text and graphics to be put into the iEnter. The second app I would like to present is iConsent, that is dedicated, is accessible from the iEnter, and the patients should receive all the username and password, and then they can log in into the web app. And this digital tool was designed to collect and manage informed consent through the platform, provides other services for configuration, sending, signing, also revocation of the consent, and verification of all the consent forms. And the app ensures the patients an access to the patients to all the consent documentation, including all the leaflets of the trial, and also to the previous signed forms. Within the app, the patients can communicate with the clinical staff, and also the patients can indicate and update their contact details for legal representatives existing. Initially, the app implemented an hybrid electronic signatures. The patients could sign on paper their consent, and then scan and upload the consent through the web app. But now we included the possibility to sign by means of a qualified electronic signature that is fully compliant with the European regulations. And this kind of signature is legal, valid, and then potentially can be used in every clinical trials to elicit the consent to perhaps the use of the secondary use of data. We implemented 2 pilot studies to evaluate, to have the patient opinion about the web apps. One pilot study is completed and involved the evaluation of all the 3 instruments, but at that time, iConsent included just the hybrid signature model. And we have also an ongoing pilot study just at our institution that is assessing feasibility and added values of iConsent, the new version of iConsent, in which we included the qualified electronic signature. The evaluation, the first pilot, we enrolled 10 cancer patients from 2 participating centers that are INT and also Val d'Hebron Institute. These 10 patients, 5 were evaluated only iEnter, and 5 both iConsent and iParticipate, using the system usability scale that has 10 items to which each patient can give the opinion strongly on a Likert scale, from strongly disagreeing to strongly agree. For instance, I think that I would like to use this app website frequently, or I need to learn a lot of things before I could get going with the website that is, of course, related to the fact that the web app is not clear. Then we had also 5 open questions, a qualitative semi-structured interview, but I don't have still the results of the interview, but I can show the results on the first 5 patients enrolled at INT and the VHIO. We are satisfied with the results, I mean, because the patients, the mean score for all the patients evaluating IENTER is satisfactory in both institutions, even if we have just a little bit differences between patients. But as far as IENTER is concerned, I think that it was favorably evaluated. As regards the other 2 apps, I consent and participate. We could show some differences between the institution, because INPT patients were perhaps less satisfied, or perhaps they encountered more problems in using the web apps. As regards the second pilot we are conducting at INT, we planned to enroll 20 patients overall in 2 clinical trials, because we wanted to have in the sample just patients participate into clinical trials, because they already know what the consent, the informed consent is, so they could sign our to participate into our pilot. And now we have actually 10 patients completed the registration procedures, and 4 filling the evaluation. But the median score were too low, actually, because the results are strongly influenced by 2 patients that responded, that were polarized on 2 responses. One patient chose almost 2 to respond lower scores, and the other chose to respond higher scores. So perhaps these 2 patients are a little bit biased, so we should include, or we should investigate why these patients are polarized on 2 extreme answers. So this is for my part. Now I concluded my presentation.